I don't think people understand that it can happen to anyone. The stories I've heard, they made me realize that it can happen to me as well.
We spoke to a gentleman, he was a lawyer. His marriage fell apart. He became homeless, lost his job. So he said within a month, I ended up on the street. I had nowhere to go.
What was a typical nightlife on the street?
Vary from night to night, really. Make some money and then sit and have a drink and go to sleep.
Today the Focus C15 campaign is here in solidarity with the homeless people. Every night there's homeless people that sleep in the Stratford Centre, and a lot of the time the police and security are forcing them out of the centre when it's one of the only places where there's some shelter to keep people out of the rain and out of the cold, and so it's really important that people are not forced out of the Stratford Centre. There's an even bigger issue than that. They should be in homes. The Carpenters Estate just across from Stratford Centre has 450 empty council homes, so homeless people should be in those homes. There's absolutely nothing stopping the council putting them in them. They're in perfectly good condition, and homeless people need to get off the streets and into housing.
You could be involved in a car accident and it's not your fault, but you could become carless, couldn't you? You could be put in a situation that there's no way to get out of. And that's what happens to these people. I mean, we've been coming here for 5 years, and I would say at least 50% are the same people. So I'm saying in 5 years, no one's done anything for this 50%.
There are more people on the street. We're trying not to question why, but what we actually can do about it, because why is just in the past. Let's just focus on fixing it.
Do you think people understand what homelessness is like? Do you think
No, people don't understand.
What would you like them to know?
That it's hard out here, it's cold. You can't trust people, especially being female. You have to be wary of men, obviously. Making money, just eating, it's just hard work. It's tiring, it's mentally draining.
A lot of these people come from traumatised backgrounds, actually, so some of them could be from a young age going up, and the only thing you can actually do is to get yourself out of that situation is to come out, and the only place you can come out is onto the streets.
A lot of people are going bankrupt, family issues, drugs, and then we have people that just, life, one day you're up and the next day you're completely down. It can be small thing as depression. You don't get help with that.
I was speaking to a gentleman today. I said, how come you're on the street? He said, well, my stepdad was abusing me, and I had no choice but to leave. So imagine the courage it takes for somebody to come from a normal place and end up in a place like this.
Are there people you know who are not around now?
Some of them have died, dead.
What is the main cause?
Hypothermia, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, things that you generally get you won't have when you first come on the streets, but you will end up having once you're on the streets to survive.
They drink so that they can numb their bodies, they can stay out in the cold. My jacket's cold and wet, I'm going to go home, it's going to dry off. You imagine I have to sleep in this tonight.
How do you feel it's affected your health?
I got an addiction through living on the street. It was so cold, I started drinking a lot of vodka. Then it ended up me having to drink a couple of bottles a day, just to keep warm in a coffee or something, just so I'd be warm, because I wasn't allowed in the day centre, in the homeless centre at that time, because I had no local connection. So I had to stay on the street. I went to the bookies and put a bet on and could sit in there for a couple of hours, but yeah, other than that, I was back out on the street again. It was horrible.
Social housing is a right! Here to stay! Here to
We put it on social media saying that we was going to be here today in solidarity with the homeless. Before coming here, we had an event in a pub where we had some film showings and some performers. The police were calling the pub all day, telling them that there was going to be trouble and asking them how many people were at the pub and things like that. The police have also shut off the church, where just round the corner where a lot of homeless people sleep at night time too, outside the church.
I have found homelessness to be hard work. I've been criminalised through being homeless, having nowhere to live, been moved on when it's been raining and there's nowhere else to sleep, moved on, woken up by the police all the time. It's just a complete nightmare.
Every day we get bullied by him. Several, maybe 8, 9 times a day we get bullied by him for no reason. We don't bother the people walking past and that. We keep ourselves to ourselves. We clean up our mess when we leave and that. Do you know what I mean? Other than that, we don't do nothing wrong.
Antisocial behaviour.
It's a mockery of humanity, isn't it? Like to say to somebody, like, I'm going to penalise you. I've got nothing anyway, but you still want to penalise me. Rather than punishing them, where's the compassion, like, as a human being?
We've just come unfortunate and we've become homeless, do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, we all breathe, we all sleep, we all eat, do you know what I mean? So why are they being like that with us? Do you know what I mean? We're all the same as him. It's just, he's got a job and we haven't. He's got a roof, we haven't. That's the difference, do you know what I mean? Doesn't mean he has to bully us for it. You say we're allowed to sit in the streets and that, but then when we do sit in the street, they class it as putting ourselves in a position to beg. I don't understand where we can sit or what we're allowed to do, because we haven't got a home to go to, so the only place we can sit is in the street, but we're not allowed to do that. That's a criminal offence, being homeless.
There's been spikes installed outside certain shops. There's been so many different things to prevent homeless people having the slightest bit of comfort on the street or the slightest bit of warmth. You can notice benches. Benches always have handles in between the benches so that it's not a place that people can lay. And then the Stratford Centre, when it is open, they put up massive metal gates on the corners of the centre to stop people going down there, and they also unbolt the chairs that are in the centre every night and stack them up in the corner just to prevent the slightest bit of comfort for homeless people.
It's bad enough that you're on the street. How many people pass them on a daily basis, not even say hi or look at them? Just stop and say hi, how are you? You know, I'm gonna get myself a coffee. Would you like a coffee or a tea? How much is it gonna cost you?
It just shows what system we're living under. We're living under a system that doesn't care about the most vulnerable people. It's just there to benefit the rich people.
I think society has lost itself in the money and the rest of this thing that goes around the world about wanting things that I need this and I need that. But actually, if you really think, all you need is to help people like this.
We can't stand here and let this happen anymore. I've heard so many times people say it needs to get worse before people do anything. But how can it get worse when there's people dying on the streets?
And always remember, one day that could be us.